Om Jai Swaha Mata.
Devotee Sanatan Dharam teaches that Lord manifests himself from time to time. There is manifestation. Now, Hinduism perhaps is the only religion to preach manifestation. And it is important that we as Hindus also understand the concept of manifestation. Now, manifestations are of different types. So you need to follow me closely. Hinduism says that there is God the known, God the unknown, and God who is beyond the unknown. Who is God the known? Our scriptures tell us, Matri Deva Bhava, Pitri Deva Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava. Mother is your first God. Father, Guru. These are the gods in our lives. These are God, the gods, they're known, we know them. I know Mother, I know Father, I know Guru. God the unknown. We have Durga Ma, Lakshmi Ma, Saraswati Ma, Shivaji, Hanuman Baba, Kali Ma, Ganesh Baba. Do we know them? We know of them. We don't know them. That is God the unknown. And there is God who is beyond the unknown, which has been described as an indefinable. So we can't define him. The substratum of all substrata. There is no color, no differentiation, nothing at all. He can't be defined. We don't know whether he, she, it, we don't know. Nobody knows. We refer to that state as Brahm. Brahm, which pervades all form of creation and is beyond that. But the scriptures say, not this, not that. You can't define that Brahm. That is God who is beyond the unknown. So devotees, we start from that point. God that is beyond the unknown. Brahm, as we say. Now, in this creation of ours, there are three modes of Prakriti, three modes of nature. We refer to them as Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic Prakriti. Now, I will not elaborate too much upon it, except to say that, as we have been saying time and again, Bhur Bhuva Swaha. There are three planes of existence. There are three bodies, physical, astral, causal. These three gunas exist in the three planes of existence. Earthly plane, intermediate sphere, and the heavenly sphere. And in each context, it will be a little bit different. So let me put it simply. If you look at Ramayana, we take the stories from Ramayana and we relate. In the heavenly sphere, we have Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. These three symbolize the three gunas. Vishnu Bhagwan, Sattvic Prakriti. Brahma, Rajasic Prakriti. And Shiva, Tamas Prakriti. Devotees, if you come to Ramayana, we read of Dashrath, Kaushalya having three queens. Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra. In this ethical being as such, these three queens symbolize the three gunas. Kaushalya, Sattvic Prakriti. Kaikeyi, Rajasic Prakriti. And Sumitra, Tamas Prakriti. And in the psychological, Lanka in Ramayana is a place, historically speaking. But all our scriptures have metaphysical interpretation. They relate to every one of us in a very personal way. So follow what I keep saying. If I go to Ramayana and I hear that Darshat was married and he had three queens and he had 4 sons and I go back home with that, does it help me? As I put it, all I'm doing is minding Darshat's business. That doesn't help me. But if I understand that Ayodhya Puri represents a human body, Darshat the 10 senses, the three queens, the three gunas, etc., then you can see a direct relevance of our scriptures to each of us. And this is where I believe that people need to go. We are accustomed to these stories, but we stop at these stories only. We don't live Ramayana, we only talk it. So devotees, this is why I'm trying to put this to you for deeper understanding. And if the younger people could understand this, you will see the depthlessness of Sanatan Dharma. Not superficial, stories only. The stories encode the highest philosophical truths you can think about, not to mention scientific truths. So devotee, this is where I'm coming from. So in the psychological, we have Vibhishan, Ravan and Kumkaran. Ravan is Rajasic Prakriti. Vibhishan, Sattvic Prakriti. And Kumkaran, sleeping day and night, Tamas Prakriti. So in the three planes, you have these three gunas meaning three something different. So when I say Shiva is Tamas, I don't mean that he is like Kumkaran sleeping day and night. That Tamas Prakriti in the order of being represents non-differentiation. When I say Vishnu Bhagavan is Sattvic Prakriti, lightness and brightness. When I say Brahma, Rajasic Prakriti, the power of creativity, he creates the world. So get it clear. Sometimes even some pundits don't understand this too clearly. And I am criticized for saying these things. How can I say Shiva is tamasic? Understand what I am saying. You have to get the philosophy right. Devotees, it is said when that infinite Brahm identifies with Sattvic Prakriti, Sattva, we have Vishnu Bhagavan. So Vishnu Bhagavan is Brahm identifying with Sattvic Prakriti. When that same Brahm identifies with Rajasic Prakriti, we have Brahma. And when the same Brahm identifies with Tamas Prakriti, we have Shiva. So if you follow what I am saying, there is no difference between Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. They all Brahm. Ek Brahm. You can't have many gods. There is one. It is just that what quality that Brahm identifies with, we have the personification to suit. And these three devotees are what we call Gun Avatar. And these are the first three manifestations that exist. Don't forget I'm speaking of manifestation. So the first three manifestations, and there are only three, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. There is what we call Vyuh Avatar, and there are only four. Ramayana tells us and the Bhagavad Mahapuran tells us, you have that Lord manifesting into four forms. Sri Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan, these four. In Dwapar, these same four came back as Krishna Bhagwan, Balaram, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Vyuh Avatar, no more than four. And they always remain four, nothing more than four. Then you have Leela Avatar. Leela Avatar, Bhagavad Mahapuran tells us 23. Some say 24, they check Buddha, but some schools of thought don't check Buddha. So you have all these little complications in between. Leela Avatar, so you have like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, etc. Those are what you call Leela Avatar. There is Ans Avatar. Ans means part. Who and what is Ans Avatar? If you follow what Ramayana says, what Gita says, Ishwar Ans Jeev Avinashi. Ishwar Ans Jeev Avinashi. The Jeev, the individual soul, is part and parcel of the super soul, indestructible. It is Ans Avatar. So you, I, all of us, we are manifestations of the divine. Except that some of us don't seem to believe that. And I keep saying, it is in this context that Sai Baba said, I am Ram, I am Krishna. You are Ram, you are Krishna. Most people don't hear the second part of the statement. They hear the first part, I am Ram, I am Krishna. So he thinks Sai Baba is God manifest. Each person is God manifest, except that he has realized it to a greater extent than all of us. But this is Ans Avatar. Each person is manifest Brahm. Aham Brahm Asmi. Do you understand the meaning of that statement? We say it, but how many of us understand it? And how many of us try to realize it, devotees? This is where we need to go. Okay? So Ans Avatar. Then there's Kala Avatar. Now, I can go on. There's Ans Kala Avatar. There's Avesh Avatar. All these are different types of manifestations that we have. So when we speak of manifestation, we have to understand the concept of it. It's not simple as God come in a human form. Devotees, when Sri Ram was born, when that yajna was done, for those who follow Ramayana, half of the contents that came out of the fire was given to Kaushalya. And I have always asked, you know why half? These things are not by chance. Kaushalya got a half, Kaikeyi got a quarter, Sumitra got 2 pieces, quarter each. Why this division in fractions, so to speak? There's a reason for it. Half you'll speak about There is Ek Brahm, one. But when he manifests, there are two lakshan, two qualities that he displays. One is called Tatas Lakshan, one is called Swarup Lakshan. Tatas Lakshan, when God manifests, he behaves as a man in human form. And Swarup Lakshan, he behaves as God, his true nature, in human form. Now if you follow what this means, each of us devotees is likewise. This body of ours, we, matter and spirit, as Gyandipa Katha tells us. Jar Chetan, the body, matter, physical world. So this is Tatas Lakshan. We act according to the world. But what is our essence? Swarup Lakshan. Spirituality, divinity. Aham Brahmasmi. That is where we need to understand. Very few of us behave with Swarup Lakshan. Everybody behaves Tatas Lakshan. Worldliness, worldliness, worldliness only. So when I mention all these things, scriptures give us all these things. It is to help us on the journey, to identify the objective that we need to achieve. Life is not about eating, drinking, making merry when you're dead bury. That divine intelligence has put us here for different reason. Bare bhagya manush tanupava. Everybody is special, unique. We are images of the divine. Even in Christian theology, the Bible tells you man is made in the image and likeness of God. Not physical, that God had one head and two hands and one big mouth. It's more than that. It's a spiritual image. But because we only identify with materialism, we don't want to understand this. Now, devotees, these types of discourses tax the intellect. And I believe that if we don't learn, then we can go nowhere with respect to our religion. Blind following is not recommended in this age, Kali Yuga. People must learn. So when we speak of manifestation, understand what it means. And when we speak of God manifesting, the condition that exists when He manifested, or when He would manifest, it tells us about our own lives personally. There is a macrocosm and microcosm. God exists, He manifests, as we say, in the macrocosm, all His manifestations. But on a daily basis, the Lord can manifest in every one of us, based upon the conditionalities that exist. So I've said all this to you, because tonight I want to read simply one of the reasons why that unmanifest became manifest Brahma. Now, I have set a sort of condition, a parameter here to follow. I will read the Katha, but remember, whatever is stated in the Katha in a macrocosmic sense relates to every single individual in a microcosmic sense. So what I suggest, I've always said, when we leave home to come to Yag, everybody dresses up nicely, looks into the mirror to make sure you're looking good. And everybody looking good. When you come to the Yagya, what I am doing here is holding up a spiritual mirror in which you see your inside, not the outside, not the face only. Not how much powder in the face and how much lipstick and what earring and thing. What is inside. So in other words, when I speak to you, if you are interested in your own development, I can't force you. If you're interested, you will see what is reflected back to you. Am I on this journey? If I speak about the conditionalities that exist before the Lord manifests, do I carry out these practices? If yes, then I'm a demon. If no, I'm on the right path. Look at it and see what is reflected back to you. So devotees, we're going to the Katha, where Yagyavalak Muni is relating to Bharadwaji, Kagbhushan to Garuji, Bhagwan Shankar to Goddess Parvati, Tulsidas relates to all of us. He expresses in simple and brief the conditions that exist that cause that Lord to manifest Himself. Why would He manifest? As He has declared in the Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamiham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya shambhavami yuge yuge. When unrighteousness is on the ascendant, righteousness is on the decline, my devotees are in distress, I manifest myself from time to time. These conditions have to exist. Devotees, Yagyavalak Muni said, Bharadwaj, at that point in time, Ravan was king, the time we are speaking about. Ravan was rampant. Demonic forces were rampant as they are becoming in our society today. Isn't that so? One day, within a few hours, 7 people killed. Is this a battlefield? What is happening? See the conditions reflected, devotees, in our country and personally in our lives. What are the conditions? बारहे बहु खल चोर जुआरी ये लंपट पर धन पर नारी नहीं मातु रामा नहीं मातु पिता देह साधु न सो कर जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम राम जय जय सीता राम जय जय राम भगवान शंकर बोले हे पार्वती बहुत से खल चोर ज्वारी बढ़ गई जो पराई धन और पराई स्त्रियों के ठगने वाले थे जो माता पिता देवताओं को नहीं मानते और साधुओं से सेवा कराते हैं. Just to mention some of the conditions. He said at that point in time Bhagwan Shankara Singh, Goddess Parvati, a lot of wickedness and wicked people prevailed. They were rampant wickedness. I'm not going to go along into detail and explain what wickedness is. Unalive, we all know. Chor, thieves, stealing, rampant. Jwari, gambling. Now, I want you to understand when Bhagwan Shankar mentioned these conditions, he's not saying that these conditions are good. We need to avoid. These are the conditions that cause degeneration of mankind. So at that point in time, gambling was prevalent. In Trinidad, devotees, is it so? Everybody wants to know what the mark is. Yeah? You want the 6 numbers. Everybody, scratching. Everything is gambling. Everything is gambling. You want to get rich overnight. And because of that, compromise in so many ways. But I said, I'm not going to go wrong to details. Devotees, thieves, gamblers, these were the categories of human beings, if you want to call them so, that were rampant, very powerful. Not only that, there were those who well versed in stealing other people's wealth in whatever form, and also other people's wives. Come on. So in that time we are speaking about Bhagwan Shankara Singh, Goddess Parvati. These are some of the conditions. At that point in time, nobody listened to their parents. From the time they got a little big, not a little big, what I mean. They grew up a little bit. Children. They begin to back answer their parents. Won't listen. Who wants to listen to who? Nobody will worship the devatas. Nobody respect holy places. And that is very prominent right now in society. Let it be reflected back to you, devotee, what is happening on all sides. How many people show respect to yagya, to holy places, temple, and so on and so forth. Check it out and see those conditions. Bhagavan Shankar is saying not only that, but the holy ones became a targeted group. People extracted service out of them. They became like, laborers, menial tasks they have forced to perform. Nobody respected the holy ones anymore. Sometimes it's part of their problem too. In other words, they carry about themselves in such a way to bring this about. But the whole point is that this force, like a wave, opposing all scriptural injunctions. Bhagavan Shankar is saying, the scriptural injunctions were infringed upon. Prohibitions become the norm of the day. People did those things. So devotees, to put it simply, scriptures give us prohibitions and injunctions. Many people, they choose to carry out the prohibitions, ignoring the injunctions. And when wickedness becomes prevalent, the injunctions begin to die slowly. And you know what happens? These wicked actions become the norm. So people begin to perform all these wicked actions, and unknowingly, they're caught up in the flow. It becomes the norm. And habit, devotees, is a terrible thing. Bad habit, that is. But everything is habit forming. They say even happiness is a habit cultivated. You check and see, devotees, if you allow people to do this, afterwards you become the norm. Then everybody does it. And before long, everything begins to degenerate. This is why we have systems in place. And let's put it simply, the natural tendency of any system is towards degeneration. Natural tendency. If I don't keep maintaining this house, one day to come, it's going to fall apart. No matter what it may be. So too in life, the scriptures have given to us these systems to keep everything in place, to prevent degeneration. And the day I stop maintaining these principles, degeneration takes place. So this is in a macrocosmic sense and microcosmic sense. Now what happens? You see, each individual, the microcosm, we all make up the macrocosm. And I must add one thing here. Everything in this world is a result of karmas. And karmas could be individual and collective, cumulative karmas. And karmas are what cause the three types of pain: daihik, daivik, and bhautik tap. Bodily discomfort, environmental discomfort over which we have some control, and environmental discomfort over which we have no control, like earthquakes and tsunamis and so on. Our scriptures tell us collective karmas cause all this to happen. Nobody, we shouldn't say it's them and them, we are all part of it. Everybody is part of it. So devotees, you see, what we do is very important. The principles we carry out, the prohibitions we avoid, all these things are important. So let me say, sins dominant, sins on all sides. And sins could be of two types: sins of omission and sins of commission. So scriptures have given to us prohibitions. If I carry them out, I carry out wickedness, I steal, I gamble, I steal other people's wealth, other people's wife. This is against scriptural injunctions. You create sins. Those are sins of commission. If scriptures tell me, perform puja, ahimsa satyam asteyam brahmacharyam dayarjavam, maintain all these principles, and I do otherwise, I create sins of omission. Now there may be some of us who don't do anything bad. This is good. But do I do what I'm supposed to do, what scriptures tell me? Like I said at the beginning, kamya karma. We must perform kamya karma. If I carry them out, I get blessings. If I don't, I incur sin. What kind of sin? Sin of omission. So here is where we need to look at ourselves. It is not only doing something bad that is sinful, but it is not doing what you're supposed to do. That is also sinful. Sins of omission. So many could be suffering because of sins of omission. And they don't know. They live in a comfort zone thinking, I don't do anything bad. We are very happy that you don't do anything bad. But please, do what you're supposed to do. So at this point in time, devotees, we are speaking about sins rampant. Bhagavan Shankar is speaking to Goddess Parvati. जिनके यह आचरण भवानी ते निशिचर सम जानहु पानी अतिशय देखी धर्म की हानि राम परम सभीत धराय गुलामी राम अतिशय देखी धर्म की हानि परम सभीत धराय गुलामी भगवान शंकर बोले, हे पार्वती, जिनके यह आचरण है उन प्राणियों को भी राक्षसों के समान ही जानो। भगवान शंकर इज मेकिंग अ स्टेटमेंट, ओ पार्वती, एनी इंडिविजुअल who carries out this kind of action or these actions, who possesses this kind of attitude, this acharan, then you consider such a person to be a rakshas. Rakshas is not a particular race of people, devotees. Or particular how you look, ugly, whatever, Rakshas is your karma, your attitude, our karmas, how we behave. If I have a human form and I behave in these negative terms, I am a Rakshas. I am a Rakshas. So devotees, this is where you need to look into the mirror. What are you? Who are you? You have to know. I don't want to know. I have to look at myself in the mirror. So devotees, Bhagwan Shankar passed that judgment. He made it, not me. Anybody who possesses such an attitude, know them to be a Rakshas. Bhagwan Shankar is saying, Goddess, Dharma declined. Dharma. And in brief, devotees, what is Dharma? Some of us believe Dharma is religion. Sometimes people say, I practice my Dharma. Meaning that, you light your diya, you do a little havan, Diwali time you put on a shalwar and sari and then walk all about. Your Dharma. Is that what Dharma is? Huh? That's not Dharma, devotees. Dharma is the inmost constitution by which a person is supposed to live. Let me explain simply. Each person fits into society in various capacities. They are a young man, for instance, but he is a son, a father, he is a brother, he is a friend, he is a worker in society. He has different obligations, different responsibilities. The sum total of all these constitute his Dharma. His Dharma. That is what Dharma is. I could be a very good son, but a bad father. I am not maintaining my Dharma. I am not. I am not a Dharmatma. I have to maintain my duties and obligations under all circumstances. And devotees, if you analyze, when they say Dharma is declining, they don't mean that people stop praying, If you look at society today, nearly every morning you get up, some new religion somewhere formed, some new church gone up, some temple gone up, endless people praying. But is Dharma on the up or down? Let me ask you, do you obey your parents? Do you perform your duties efficiently? Do you duck out when the boss and you get a half day, you're gone? Laugh, outsmart them. Devotees, all of us did that. Think about it closely. And we justify what we have to do, or what we do, by saying, I have to do that now. What is your duty? You have to prioritize your responsibilities. If you're paid to do a job, you do something otherwise, are you doing your duty? You're not. You're collecting money under false pretenses. Is that Dharma? And if you check society, devotees, from top to bottom, I don't want to be judgmental. In my analysis, I want to pass a statement myself. I believe that very few, if any at all, have really maintained Dharma with full efficiency. We all slip, including myself. I always mention this, I taught at Mobile Lavandil. And, on a particular day, I had a form 3. And the last period, I have the mathematics. Last period. First period after lunch, no class, I'm free. The second period, 2 periods only after lunch. This form class, form 3 boys. 19 boys. More than half of them don't know when they born. They can't spell their name. They don't know 2 times tables. And they're in Form 3. Some of them bigger than me. You imagine taking a class at last period? Now I'm putting to you the reason why I did what I did and how wrong it was. So I said to myself, if I duck out, I good. And very often, lunchtime, I duck out. Because I have them last period, Einstein. One day going home, the principal dropped me home too. Yeah. You know I'm going home. The vote is now, the question is, was that right? Was it right? Now don't feel when I tell you these things, I'm telling you, putting you down, my own experience. I did not teach the children. I should have stayed there and tried to work with them, whatever it may be. Afterwards, I realized. But you see, when there's lack of spirituality, we fall short. I would never do that now. Never do it now. And let me tell you something. When you do those kind of things, it falls back on you. It falls back on you. You play smart, koi la kare chaturai, karma ka lekh mein te nare bhai. Nobody could avoid karma. And if I could justify how much I want, I had to go puja, I had to go yag south, I had to leave early. If I dog them, I could leave earlier. Yag is in my focus. But again, pay for this, for teaching the people children. Did I do it? I pay the penalty. That is not dharma. Now this is a bitter pill to swallow. But everybody feel we do the right thing. Think again. And where dharma is concerned, you have to be dispassionate. Dharma te virati, yoga te jnana. Ramayana tells us, from dharma performed efficiently, you develop that dispassion. Dharma te virati. Then you go to yoga, then jnana. There's a journey, it's a journey. So devotees, when we speak of dharma, understand what we mean. Not praying. Praying is a small part of dharma, but your duty, your obligations are you supposed to fulfill. Okay? You have to know it. Each person has to know it. So at that point in time, because of influences, dharma declined. And they said, everyone realized that because of the influence of Ravan, dharma declined. But who could say anything? Param sabhi dhara kulani. Mother Earth devotees upon which we rest, recognizing that this dharma is declining. And when dharma declines, it's a burden on the youth. It's a burden on the youth. Mother Earth was very, very distressed. And Mother Earth, she said something. What she said, devotees, we reflect. गिरिसर सिंधु धार नहीं मोहि रमा गिरिसर सिंधु धार नहीं मोहि यश मोहि गरुआ एक पर दोही सकल धर्म देखहि विपरीत सकल धर्म देखहि विपरीत कही न सके रावण भयभीत रावण भयभीत रावण भयभीत कही न सके रावण भयभीत पृथ्वी माँ कहने लगी, पहाड़ नदी समुद्र का मुझे ऐसा भार बोझ नहीं है जैसा एक पराया द्रोह करने वाले का है. Devotees, Mother Earth said, I can bear the weight of all the mountains, all the oceans, all these other things on me. But you see, the burden of one sinner is too much. The burden of one sinner. And at that point in time, how many sinners we had? And at this point in time, how many sinners do we have? Understand the burden of Mother Earth? Now, devotees, do not forget I'm asking you to also look at this thing from a personal point, metaphysically. Right? When we don't perform our dharmas, we are affected. Negativities affect us. Our karmas come back to haunt us. This is the whole reflection of Mother Earth here. Mother Earth is in distress. And nobody wants to be in distress. I am distressed. Most times I am distressed because I have failed in my dharma. My actions are negative. What do? Devotees, and there are times in life when we may see people going the wrong way. Sometimes we tell them, they don't want to hear. And sometimes we say, well, who am I to tell them anything? I'm afraid of that person. Can I tell that person is wrong? Many people say, look, tell me, I can't take correction. You can't correct nobody. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Especially those who are internet wizards. They know. They know. Yeah? But devotees, what do you know? Just theoretical knowledge? There's something more than that. So you see, these situations occur, and only introspection, critical self-analysis could help us in these circumstances. Because as the scriptures tell us, everything about me, I have caused it, nobody else. I am the cause of what I am, who I am. I am the creator of my own destiny. So devotees, this was the situation. Dharma declined, everything was adverse, everything going the wrong side. And when you see things start to go wrong all how in life, I have asked people to look at yourself closely first. Don't stop the first thing and say your neighbor threw something in your yard. We never have time to waste. Might throw the rubbish in your yard. Always we believe somebody else done something to me. You know, my car shut down, so somebody throws something, I drive over it. Imagine the kind of power people have. Huh? Devotees, I don't believe in that rubbish. Notice what I'm saying? Because I can't say a more bad word here. Rubbish. Jaisa karni, vaisa bharni. You are responsible for you. Each person. And to me, that is good news. But I don't want to be like a boboli. Fella, watch me, say, I could do for you. You get sick same time. Psychological problem, pressure on your head. And there's a case of a fellow who had to go to court, and in the morning he got up and saw a frog, on his driveway. The mouth so up. When he saw that, well, he got heart attack same time and he did. Because somebody do something to him, so he can't go to court to give evidence. But now they don't put their kapu in the yard, now they shoot you. They're a different kind of situation now. Yeah. But devotees, you see, psychological. And I'm saying that if people pray, what you worried about? And this is where the problem is. People pray dhar every Friday, every Tuesday they fast for Hanuman, Sunday for Suraj Narayan. From the time something happens, I wonder if somebody do me something, boy. You believe in God? If you believe in God, you would not think this rubbish. This is why I keep saying, people pray, but they don't really believe in God. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies, devotees. Look at the radio. You tune into 90.5, you pick up 90.5. You tune into 106.5, you pick up that. What you tune into is that you pick up. The human being is perfect, most perfect, transmitting as well as receiving set. And what you tune into is that you pick up. Pick up rubbish if you want. This is why I keep saying, that nonsense can't go come better by me. There's nothing like that. My energy is positive. I tune into positivity, nothing otherwise. What about you? Think about it, devotees. Energy, everything is energy. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Sarva Rupena Sanskrita. Bear that in mind, devotees. And don't be vulnerable and live a life of fear for these kind of things. Somebody throws something in your yard. What are you going to throw? Devotees, if I put papas and just put some flowers and put some sindoor, especially by your gate, oh God, you're in trouble. Long time you're in trouble, especially sindoor if you see the sindoor. You're in trouble, somebody doing you something. As your mind. Mind disease. So devotees rise out of that. So if situations arise, Don't start thinking that. Start analyzing yourself. Where am I going wrong? Am I going wrong somewhere? Am I failing somewhere? And be honest with yourself. Honest. You and you alone, God knows. And by the way, as I mentioned this, everybody, when somebody dies, in Garuk Puran, so talking about Chitragupta. They say Chitragupta is a fellow who writes down everything everybody does for the 24 hours of the day, for as long as they live. I never say overworked man, so 10 billion people in the world. Some of them live in 80, 90 years. He writes down everything, and he has no union to represent him. We need to get somebody's union from Sri Lanka to represent him. But that is if you're thinking like that. It's not that. Chitragupta. Chitra means picture and Gupt means secret. Secret picture, Chitragupta. Chitragupta is the recording ability of your own mind. It's not somebody on the outside. And notice, everything you do, everything you experience, everything is recorded inside of you. Not Chitragupta on the outside. And when you see the final moments come, who do you think confronts you? Chitragupta. The secret picture of your life, you confront yourself. Nobody gets away. Nobody gets away. But you have to understand these things, devotees. And if you understand these things, you don't play games. Yeah? As the bhajan says, "Ek din hame bhi jana hai." We all have to go one day. खूब मौज कर देख तमाशे, खेल अनेकों खेल, खेल अनेकों खेल. In this life, everything is tamasha. Only excitement all about. Happening this. And one game after next. Bigger and bigger games. Everything is a game. Sometimes even religion becomes a game. Even when people pray to God, it becomes a game. Where is the honesty and sincerity and genuine attitude that will help us through life? If you have it, you're going well. If not, you're fooling yourself. We all need to take stock of ourselves, devotees. So this is why I'm saying we must analyze ourselves sincerely. When I do this, this is house cleaning. House cleaning. Cleaning this house nice. But what about this house? All the hate, the anger, the lust, the scheme, the trick. You expect God to come inside it? No, He ain't coming. He ain't coming. He will come where there is purity, where there is love, where there is belief, etc. So devotees, suggestion. When things are going wrong in our lives, we must analyze ourselves first. And if I am honest and sincere that, I am doing everything proper, then maybe karmas are coming back to haunt me. I can consult my guru, the spiritualist. I think that's a bad word to use. Because spiritualist, people think I'm a man who's deep in spirit. My guru, my spiritual guy. I'm going to say it again. Devotees, I need to go back to scriptures and need to perform certain karmas, fasting and so on. Fast for Durga Ma, Hanuman Baba. Do it with the right intent, and that can help me overcome all my problems. No shortcut, na. No shortcut. So devotees, these situations relate to us directly. And I'm saying to you that one of the best solutions to bring about, well, to remove all distress is sincere and genuine prayer. Even if illnesses could come our way, there are many who have terminal diseases, and all doctor could have said spontaneous remission. They don't know how. But there was one common thread, that everyone was highly spiritual. And I know many people, personally, in today's world who have various problems, medically and otherwise. They pray a lot, and they're going on as usual. Nobody would know. They're going on as usual. The power of prayer sustaining them, the energy I'm talking about. Devotees, we need that energy. Okay? So don't believe in foolishness and allow people to exploit you, your vulnerability, and take away your money. Devotees, Mother Earth, then she decided, well, nobody could help me because of Ravan. Everybody afraid. So she decided to do something. And let's listen to what she did.
धेनुरूप धरि हृदय विछारी गई तहा जह सुर मुनि झारी निज संताप सुनाय सिरोई काहू ते कछु काजन हुई। निज संताप सुनायसी रोई, काहू ते कछु काजन हुई। जय सिया रामा जय सिया रामा, जय सिया रामा जय सिया रामा। जय रघुरामा जय परधामा, जय सुखधामा जय श्री रामा। जय सिया रामा जय सिया रामा, जय सिया रामा जय सिया रामा।
गौ का रूप धारण कर मन में विचार, जहाँ देवता मुनि थे वहाँ गई। अपना दुख रो कर सुनाया, पर किसी से कोई काम नहीं होता। It is said that divine force from within Mother Earth assumed the form of Mother Cow, a cow. And devotees, I won't elaborate too much upon cow, except to say that, the cow from a Hindu perspective is a holy animal. Scriptures say in all parts of the cow, the devatas reside. Let me look at it. They say the waste product of the cow, the gobar, we use that as Gauri. If you look at the waste product of the cow, one of the best fuels you can get. That's one. Fertilizers you can get. Long ago they would use that cake of cow dung, light it and boil milk over it. It's the most steady heat you could ever get. Way back in the past, they would repair all the ground, all the walls with bacha gobar. People never get, what do you call the thing? Gastro thing now. All these kind of viral infections and so on. They repair with gobar, Why do you think we repair the berry with bacha gobar? And let me make this point quite clear. Bacha gobar and fresh. Now we have a fixation with gobar devotees. So I'm telling you, listen, it's not any kind of gobar, Bacha gobar, the young cow gobar. And must be fresh. If they say this gobar possesses antiseptic qualities, right? The cow eats grass and so on only. The big cow, they eat feed. And sometimes, how do you think they get mad cow disease? They take cow self and make feed and feed cow self. So who want to eat cow, all will fix up. Devotees, the bacha eats grass. Intestine very, very short. So when the cow eats that, the bacha eats that, it comes out as the gobar very quickly. There is no time to putrefy within the stomach. And then the various enzymes created within the stomach of the cow to digest, all these put together create antiseptic qualities. So we repair the berry with gobar, bacha gobar. Some people believe you must get gobar. So you go by the farm and they come and when they repair it, you smell until the corner dongso. Hi! That gobar has plenty bacteria in it already. That is not what you need. If you can't get bacha gobar, plenty berry jeso. And you can use a supari for Gaurima. But they see this obsession with the gobar. And the classical thing is some people get gobar when they freeze it. When they for the puja, they microwave it. So they come and they replay. Technology. Oh Lord. And where are we going? Devotees, anyway, the waste product of the cow is so very, very powerful. So think about the cow itself. And Bhagavan says, I manifest myself for the protection of the cows. Maybe some other time, some other circumstances, we'll elaborate upon this whole concept of the cow. How important the cow is. Why the cow is so important to Hindus. But for tonight, devotees, Mother Earth assumed the form of a cow. And she said, I will go to the devatas and cry my distress to them. They will help me. But when she went there and cried her distress, what was the problem? The devatas in the same problem? If I'm in the same problem, how can I help you? How can I help you? So there's a kind of stalemate here, dead end. Who to help who? Devotees, everybody in distress now. The devatas said, oh Mother Earth, we are in the same problem. Ravan is causing our distress. What can we do?
सुर मुनि गंधर्वा मिलकर सर्वा गए विरंची के लोका संग को धनुधारी भूमि विचारी परम विकल भय शोका ब्रह्मा सब जाना मन अनुमाना मेरो कछु न बसाई जा करते दासी सो अविनाशी हमरो तो रसहाय।
devotees, discussion. They were all in the same problems, what to do. After discussion, they decided that they will go to Lord Vishnu, it is said, according to Hindu theology, the Lord who helps his devotees to manifest, to remove the burdens of the earth. So they decided, they took a decision, they appealed to Lord Vishnu for his timely intervention, divine intervention. But the question was, well, Brahma said, "Oh Mother Earth, be courageous, be strong. We will appeal to Bhagwan Vishnu. He bhakton ka dur karne wali. He removes all your unhappiness. He removes all vipatti, all adversity from one's life. We will appeal to him." So they all sat down now to appeal to Vishnu Bhagwan, but the question was, where to find him? Where is God? Where is God? And devotee is normal thing. Some say God in heaven, some say God in the ocean of milk, some say God in the temple, God here, some say God everywhere. Where is God? Where is God? We'll keep it straight with the Katha devotees. Bhagwan Shankar is saying Goddess Parvati, I was there. And when the moment, the opportunity was right, I added my piece. And what was my statement? It's good to bear this in mind, devotees. Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. God pervades every single atom of creation. How? I started off by saying God which is beyond the unknown. I started off by explaining that Brahm which is indefinable, the substratum of all substrata. In this context, he pervades every single atom of creation. Every single atom of creation. So Bhagwan Shankar is saying, Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. God pervades every single atom of creation. He's all pervading. But Prem Te Pragat Kohi Mai Jana. But only because of love, he manifests himself. This is what I know. Desh Kal Dishi Vidishu Mahi. Kahu So Kaha Prabhu, Jaha Prabhu Nahi. Where, which country, which place, what time? Tell me, where is it that Lord is never there? When, devotees? Now this is good news for us. Bhagwan is everywhere. This is why Hindus say you could pray anywhere. You have to sit only in front of the altar and pray, or in a temple. It's good to go there, but you can pray anywhere and everywhere. And this is Bhagwan Shankar making his point. But what is the key component? Prem. Genuine love. You have to have that love. Not how much prasad you offer, what color flowers you offer. They call it Bahya Bhakti. And we don't want to go into that angle. We keep touching upon these things in due course, devotees. Bahya Bhakti, where many focus what color clothes to wear, how to put the bay leaf, what color flowers to use, do put tulsi in Ganesh Prasad. All these pakhand, those are superficial things that don't really have any relevance to devotion. But this is what most people gravitate towards, Bahya Bhakti, superficial. I'm not going to go there. We'll explain all those things in due course, not tonight, as we go along. Devotees, Hindus need to understand all these things and stop being taken for a ride. I can just tell you one thing. Many times they say, don't put don't put tulsi in Ganesh Prasad. And many people for donkey years doing puja and putting tulsi. All them stop putting tulsi. Ganesha manu tulsi. Who tell you that? Ganesh tell you that? And you know what? Mule tu sarvatirthani sakha tu sarvadevata patte tu sarvayajnani tulsi tu namamyaham. You know the tulsi mantra? At the root of the tulsi, all the holy places reside. On the branches of the tulsi, all the devatas reside. Ganesha and there? Huh? And devotees, I'll just tell you this. I was telling my granddaughters this one day. Say, Mama, they say don't put tulsi in Ganesh Prasad. So she said, well, both of them. They say, why Aja? I said, well, you see, they say Tulsi wanted to get married to Lord Ganesh. The first response from the little one was, but Aja, Tulsi is a thing. Meaning what? How could a thing marry Shiva? Follow me? If you can't follow, imagine a child smarter than you. The problem with Hinduism, you follow blindly. And children are asking questions, how could I marry Tulsi, a tree, to Lord Ganesh? Tulsi is a purifier. I have spoken to people who from since 50, 60 years doing Ganesh Yagya, from ever since using Tulsi. Ganesha tell him he won't Tulsi yet. And I'm sure if Ganesh won't Tulsi, he will tell me. I'm sure he'll email me and tell me. But devotee just says the pakhand, the external form. And nonsense. Do puja, Ganesh puja, but don't put Tulsi in the Panchamrit. And after Ganesh puja, then put Tulsi in the Panchamrit. What foolishness are you doing? Huh? Some say, don't put Tulsi in Lord Shiva's Dhar. You can't put a next lady on, you can't put a lady on top of Lord Shiva head. How you put a lady on top of Lord Shiva head? One Baba telling them. I sent a message to ask him, but how come Ganga on top of your head? And Ganga is a lady? Move him now. You see, they talk rubbish without understanding devotees. Sorry to say so. This is Bahya Bhakti. And the problem is, many of our people fall victim to that. Yes, the book says so. So Tulsi and Ganesh have a cuss out like you and I go cuss out. I want to marry you, I want to marry you, I will do for you. That is divinity. Is that what Hinduism has become? Not in my book. That is the service to Hinduism and to our ancestors. Believe me, devotees. And I'm saying, as a beautiful song Umesh composed, Hindu logo jago. Wake up. Wake up, Hindus. Don't get carried away in foolishness. This is why we say go to the deeper level. When you go to the deeper level, you have no problem there. You can't go wrong. Okay, devotees? So all these points must be understood. The important thing is prem. Patram pushpam phalam toyam, Bhagavan said. A flower, a fruit, a leaf, he didn't say no tulsi. A drop of water, whatever you offer to me with love, I partake of it. With love and disinterested spirit, the attitude is important, not what you offer. So devotees, all this pakan created by man. Let's leave that. Prem is the important component here. Genuine love. And if you have that love, devotees, you can make that Lord manifest anyway and anytime. So Bhagavan Shankar is saying, prem. And so, Brahmaji was highly pleased. He said, Sadhu, Sadhu, O Shiva, you have spoken wonderful words. And they all decided, why go running like Marans all about? Let me stay one place, let me stabilize, let me focus, and pray, love in my heart. Let me appeal to that Lord. And that was what they did. And devotees, that is what I want to do at this point in time as we proceed to wrap it up. I want to appeal to that Lord. Ek baar fir to aao. Oh Lord, I want you to come one more time. But where do I want you to come? Here. You see here, Lord? In each person, Ravan is here, Kans here. All the negativities, hate, anger, lust, greed, jealousy. These negativities eaten me away. They are rampant within me, O Lord. As you uplifted Mount Govardhan, you champion the cause of the cows. O Lord, please come manifest within me and champion my cause. Do you need God, devotees? I think everybody needs God. Everybody needs God. When in Trinidad, those who are empowered to protect us, they themselves become victims to crime. Who will protect us? Who will protect us? That one, infinite, all-powerful, one without a second. So devotees, we pray. I ask you to concentrate and in your own way, sincerely, open the heart, invite the Lord. He makes a difference. एक बार फिर तो आओ, बन बन बिछड़ने वाली लीला दिखाओ भगवान, लीला रचाने वाली एक बार फिर तो आओ, बन बन बिछड़ने वाली लीला दिखाओ भगवान, लीला रचाने वाली एक बार फिर तो आओ। क्रोधादि काम हमको बन कर असुर सताते, क्रोधादि काम हमको बन कर असुर सताते, इनसे बचाओ भगवान, इनसे बचाओ भगवान, जन की बचाने वाले एक बार फिर तो आओ। गिरिवर उठा के तुमने, ब्रज की बचाया तुमने, गिरिवर उठा के तुमने, ब्रज की बचाया तुमने, अब फिर वही समय है, अब फिर वही समय है,
नटवर कहाने वाली एक बार फिर तो आओ। बन बन चरा के जिनके गोपाल तुम कहाए, बन बन चरा के जिनके गोपाल तुम कहाए, गौरे तुम्हें बुलाते, गौरे तुम्हें बुलाते, आओ चराने वाले एक बार फिर तो आओ। कंसादिकों को बध कर भूभार था मिटाया, कंसादिकों को बध कर भूभार था मिटाया, अब पाप भार है भी, अब पाप भार है भी, भूभार हरने वाले एक बार फिर तो आओ। भक्ति की तेरा सुन के आवो किशोर भगवन, भक्ति की तेरा सुन के आवो किशोर भगवन, दुनिया के सुख से भर दो, दुनिया के सुख से भर दो, श्री राम नाम वाले दुनिया के सुख से भर दो, श्री कृष्ण नाम वाले एक बार फिर तो आओ। बन बन बिछड़ने वाले लीला दिखाओ भगवन, लीला रचाने वाले एक बार फिर तो आओ, एक बार फिर तो आओ, एक बार फिर तो आओ।
ओम जय स्वाहा माता, मैया जय स्वाहा माता, तुम अग्नि की शक्ति, तुम अग्नि की शक्ति, तुम सच्ची माता। ओम जय स्वाहा